What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be showing you guys how we made a pair of these Jordan 1 Shattered Backboards on a pair of the Nike Superfly Elite 6 soccer cleats. Now these shoe transformations where we bring an entirely different silhouette's colorway and transfer the entire silhouette and the colorway onto a completely different model is kind of a thing that's been around for a long time when it comes to customizing sneakers. Now this is something that can be pretty tricky because you're working with so many different depths, panels, contours when it comes to working with an entirely different silhouette, and you really never know what you're getting yourself into until you start transforming that onto a completely different shoe. Now we're working with a single panel cleat here, and what I mean by that is this entire cleat is one panel all the way around, but if you look at something like a Jordan 1, there are so many different panels that make up this shoe. So we have a pretty tricky overall goal here of really trying to trick the eye of when you look at this, we really want you to kind of think that you're looking at a Jordan 1 even though it's a soccer cleat. So overall, if we're rating difficulty on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to place a project like this somewhere around an 8.5. And at first it may look a little bit simple because you're really just transferring panels onto another shoe, but to really get those panels to look like they're curving certain ways and they have different depths and whatnot, it's pretty tricky overall. So before we get into our process, we have to give a major shout out to Adrian's Customs, who absolutely knocked this Chicago colorway out of the park when transforming this same pair of the Superfly 6s into an off-white colorway. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start walking you guys through how we made these. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is knock out our color mix for these. So in order to make this Shattered Backboard orange, the colors that we used are tangerine, white, yellow, vanilla, and chili red. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up a screenshot with the ratios that we used to make this exact mix. So as far as the prep work went for these cleats, same thing that we would do with any other cleat. If you're looking for a little bit more of a detailed explanation on that, we have plenty of other videos covering where we go a lot more in depth on that. For example, our Gucci cleats video that we put out earlier in this week really goes in depth on that. We don't want to spend too much time on that in this video because there's a lot of other stuff to go over. So after we did our prepping, it was really time to make sure that we could get an all-white base for these. So because we go through those really rigorous steps of prepping these correctly, even though you start with an all-white cleat, sometimes after the beginning prep stages, you don't have an all-white cleat anymore. And that's because of all the sanding using the Scotch-Brite pad, and then when you just get into acetoning certain areas of the shoes, sometimes different dyes or paints will actually come off from the factory. So because this Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard colorway has quite a few panels that are actually all white, we had to really make sure that we were starting with an all white base. So now that we had that all white base, it was time to get into the fun portion of this project where we were actually going to plan out how we were going to transfer all these panels from the Jordan 1 onto this new silhouette. So when you're doing something like this of capturing a different shoe's actual silhouette and trying to transfer that onto something new, it's definitely a good idea if possible to bring that silhouette and have it right in front of you. So in this case, I made sure to have a Jordan 1 nearby and a lot of different pictures and a lot of different angles of it, just so I had a lot of different ways of viewing this and making sure that I was really able to capture that. Alright guys, so this is where you really need to channel your inner Jedi and basically really become one with the shoe so that you can actually capture the essence of that model. So the way that I went about this was first just sketching out where I thought all the panels were gonna go. And then from there I wanted to tape off all the areas that I wanted to keep white, so then we could do a little bit of airbrushing to get all of our panels that nice Shattered Backboard orange that we made earlier. So after we had all of our orange done, instead of throwing some black lines around these, which would have made these look kind of like a cartoon in a way, which would have been a pretty cool style, we wanted these to have that illusion. So what I did was take just a different shade of orange, a little bit darker. All I added was a little bit more of a regular orange into our mixture to just make this a little shade darker, and then we threw this as an outline around all of our orange panels to give it a nice hard edge and to really help trick the eye that there's kind of some different depths occurring here. So there was already a decent swoosh outline included within this model, but to make it look like the off-white variation, we needed to extend it a little bit further so that it extends onto this side panel. So all I did was extend the front curve of the swoosh a little bit further onto this. So there's a couple of the minor details that we needed to knock out that are on the off-white Jordan 1 swooshes, such as the blue stitching, and then the minor little orange patch that goes near the rear of the swoosh. And then from there, we had the fun task of trying to mimic all this stitching that's included on the Jordan 1s. So we had to paint all these tiny little black lines across all these different panels, and this alone took a couple hours. And then from there, one of our final little tasks to capture the Jordan 1 was the little black panels near the rear upper of the shoes. Alright, so now it's time to get into the stencil portion of our video. So we had to include the air on the outside of the boots below the swoosh, and then there is the classic Jordan 1 wings logo that we had to include on this upper portion that's almost the sock-like material. Now this was super tricky, and I had no idea how this was going to come out beforehand, because you never really know what you're getting yourself into when you're working with a really tricky material like this. We're not working with a nice hard surface like leather, which we typically are, and since this was so tiny and there's so many different lines, I knew that this was going to be pretty tricky. But you just got to take your time, weed your stencils out correctly, and kind of hope for the best on a material like this. And then on the inside of the boots where we have the off-white text, you'll notice that it says off-white from MCEW. And we're actually making these for our fellow YouTuber MCEW, who's absolutely killing it across a lot of different platforms, YouTube, Instagram. If you guys haven't already seen him or heard of him, make sure you go check out his YouTube page. He has these absolutely insane videos where he smashes a ton of different things with cleats, and they've just gone absolutely viral, getting millions of views, so he's killing it. Make sure you guys check him out. We'll have links to his stuff down below. So the inside of these cleats was a really curved surface where it was really tricky actually laying this text stencil down. So just from laying this text stencil down and that wing stencil on the outside of the boots, this took about 3 hours itself. But after we started peeling it back, it was looking super crispy, and we were super happy with this result. And then from there, the final little off-white touches that we needed to add were the shoelace text laces and then the all red zip tie. So again, we want to give a huge shout out and pay some big respects to our buddy Adrian's Customs for absolutely knocking this theme out of the park. His original pair we actually featured on Customs of the Week when he first did them, and this is one of those pairs that I just stared at for a long time because I was just absolutely shocked at how clean his work was, and he really tricked me into thinking that I was looking at a pair of Jordan 1s and soccer cleat crossovers. So it was definitely a fun challenge for me to try to recreate this thing. And we want to give a major thanks to all of you for watching another video with us. If you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about cleats when it comes to prepping, finishing, stencil use, all that stuff, the video that we posted earlier this week, like we talked about, the Gucci cleats video, we go really in depth to everything. It's over 20 minutes long, and it is jam-packed with information, tips, tricks, and just a lot of different things that you guys can take away from. The feedback on that video has been absolutely insane. We believe, in our opinion, it is the most insightful video that we've put out to date. So make sure you guys go give that a watch if you haven't already. If you guys are interested, we've posted links down below in the description containing the exact laces that we used in this video, along with the red zip tie. And if you guys would like to see us throw up this off-white stencil pack into our Etsy shop, just be sure to let us know in the comments. We would be more than willing to do so for you guys if you are interested, so just make sure to let us know. Thank you guys again for watching. Go ahead and give this video a like if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed to the page, and we will see you guys in that next video.